Welcome everybody. This is Gwen with the Urbana-Champaign Satellite Reef, and I'm here today to show you how to make some extended stitches. So we're going to talk about the half double crochet, the double crochet, and the triple crochet. And those are just longer or taller stitches that would allow you to make something big more quickly. And they also add a little bit of space in between your stitches. So sometimes the stitched fabric has the look of a mesh, which can be an interesting texture. So everybody by now is probably pretty familiar with chaining and single crocheting. And so I'm going to do a quick chain here. Chain 10 to 15 or so. And a reason that I would use a taller stitch would be if I wanted to make something sculptural and I wanted it to get big really quickly. That might be a reason to do it. Or if, again, I wanted there to be spaces, little meshed gaps in between my stitches. Sometimes you can use those as a decorative aspect, or sometimes they can be used so that you can weave the yarn around the post of the taller chain, which is a more advanced technique that you can play with also. So this is my little chain here. I'm going to start. Normally, if we were doing a single crochet, I would just skip my first chain and go into the second. Obviously, I'm not counting the stitch on my hook here. I'm counting this one as my first, and then this is my second. Just to use my pointer here to make it a little more clear. This is my first chain, this is my second, this is the one on my hook. So I would normally go into my second. For a half double, I am going to skip 2 and go into my third. So I would be putting the hook into the third chain here. So we'll start with the half double. The single, of course, just to review, is inserting the hook in the chain, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over again, pulling through 2. Okay, so by now, perhaps you already know how to do that. And it's time to move on to a half double. All right, I'm going to chain one more. My chain's a little bit twisted here. All right, so I'm going to skip to my I'm going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and I'll be going into this third one here. But first I need to yarn over. So the biggest difference between the single crochet and the other longer stitches is that you start yarning over before you insert the hook into the stitch. So I will yarn over once, insert into the third chain from the hook, and then I will yarn over again, pull through. I now have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over one more time and pull through the 3 remaining loops. That creates a half double. So to see that again, I am yarning over once, inserting my hook in the next chain, pulling that loop up so that I have 3 loops on my hook, and then yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. This stitch is just a little bit taller than a single crochet, but not as tall as a double crochet. Yarning over, inserting, pulling up a loop for 3 on the hook, yarning over, through. All right, I'm going to get to the end of this and then show you how to go on to the second row. Okay, I'm at the end of my row here, and again I'm doing the half double, and I am going to turn my work like normal, and I'm going to chain 1, 2 chains. This is going to be equivalent to the height of the half double stitch. I'm then going to skip this first crochet stitch. So I'll be skipping this one and going into this one. This half double, or these 2 chains here, are acting as my first stitch. So I'm skipping and going into the next one. That's just to leave space. And so to start the half double, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. And then I would continue on until I get to the end. Okay, so that was our half double. That's frequently used for scarves where you want a little bit of a loftier, higher stitch, but you don't want there to be a lot of spaces for the stitch between the stitches because you want it to be quite warm. This next one is the double crochet stitch, and we again start with a chain, foundation chain. Okay, and I am going to skip the first 3 chains from my hook. So 1, 2, 3, and insert my hook into the 4th chain, which is this one right here. Before I do that, just like the half double, I have to yarn over once. So to start your double crochet, yarn over once, insert your hook, pull up a loop for 3 loops on the hook, just like last time, yarn over again. This time, instead of pulling through all 3, I'm going to pull through 2 loops, leaving 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over one more time and pull through the remaining 2 loops. So let's look at that again. We are going to yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, leaves 2, yarn over again, pull through the remaining 2 loops. And one more time, yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. By now you might have noticed, or you will notice at least when we get to our triple crochet, that this stitch is named for the number of times that you pull through 2 loops. So you are yarning over, inserting the hook, pulling through 2 loops once, pulling through 2 loops twice for a double crochet. All right, I reached the end. I turned my work over, just like we usually do. And now I have to make that turning chain. And my turning chain is going to be 3 chains high this time. So last time we chained 2, this time we are chaining 3 for the double crochet. So it's 1 more than the name of the stitch. So I've chained 3. I'm going to skip my first crochet stitch, which is right here, and instead go into this second stitch. Before I insert the hook, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, pull up loops, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 more. Okay, so far we've done a half double crochet, a double crochet, and now we're going to do a triple crochet, which means that we'll be pulling through 2 loops 3 times. So I'm going to start with my foundation chain. All right, I have a foundation chain of 10 chains, and always make sure that I untwist my foundation chain. Depending on how I'm pulling on the yarn as I chain, it may want to twist on me, which can confuse where I should put my hook into the stitch. Okay, so we want to skip some to start our triple crochet, sometimes called a treble crochet. You are going to skip 4 of the chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to insert your hook into the 5th chain, which in this case is right here. To start the triple crochet, you're going to yarn over not just once, but twice. So you're going to wrap it around the hook twice, just like that, before you even put it into your stitch. So then I insert my hook, pull up a loop as normal. You should now have 4 loops on the hook. It's a lot of loops. I'm going to yarn over once. I'm going to pull through 2 of those loops, leaving 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, pull through another 2 loops, leaving 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over a 3rd time, pull through the remaining 2 loops. And what you have is a very tall stitch. Let's do that again. Yarning over twice to begin the stitch, inserting in the next chain, pulling up a loop. I now have 4 loops on my hook, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over again, pulling through 2, yarning over a 3rd time, and pulling through 2 loops a 3rd time. Now I've made 2 stitches. Do it again. Pulling up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So I'm pulling through 2 loops 3 times for my triple crochet. Okay, I reached the end of my row and I turned my work. Now I've got to chain a bunch to make a row of chains that are equivalent to the height of this stitch, which is quite tall. So I'm going to chain 4 this time. For the double, you chain 3 for your turning chain. For the triple, you are chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that counts as my first stitch, so I am then going to go into this hole for my next triple crochet. And again, I start that by yarning over twice, inserting the hook, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through 2 loops, yarning over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Continue to do that a couple of times so you can see it. Okay, so this is what the triple crochet looks like. Look how tall that stitch is. Sometimes people will use this stitch And then there are other stitches that use the post of the triple crochet and actually crochet into or around this stitch, thinking of that as a post. And that can be something that is used when you're making coral. You can change directions by crocheting around these posts. It's also just a fun way to create this very specific texture with these tall lines and little spaces in between. In a technique called filet crochet, they use chains and triple crochet and a couple of other techniques to make a very open meshed looking fabric. Often this is done with embroidery thread or embroidery floss for a really detailed lace-like textile, but it has a lot of really interesting uses and it's a very distinct look. One of the most important things is that it grows quickly. So within only 2 rows, I have twice as much height as I would a single crochet. So we'll do one more row. I'm going to do that turning chain again, which again I have to chain 4. And I skip to the second stitch. Okay, so with the triple crochet, you can make something that gets really big really quickly. And the way that you would make something like this hyperbolic is just by putting multiple triple crochets in the same stitch. So increasing, but then creating a triple crochet each time. If you start out with a single crochet and want to switch to a triple crochet, something that you can do is use the half double and then the double to stair step up to the triple crochet, so you can actually kind of work your way up. So let's see if we can see what that would look like. Make my turning chain. This would be my single. This would be my half double, so I yarned over once and then I'm pulling through 3. This next one would be my double. Pull through 2, pull through 2, and for the last one we will do a triple. And that doesn't quite finish my row. Maybe I would want to go back down or continue on with the triple crochet, but you can see how you could create a shape using this stair stepping up from single to half double, double, and then triple crochet.